This is PNN. Your Prohibition News Network anchor is Devon Payne.
Good evening. Today, December 5th, 1933, Franklin Roosevelt signed legislation repealing the 18th Amendment, making it once again legal to sell, manufacture, transport, and consume alcohol. To take you back, look at this Prohibition timeline. 1917. The U.S. Senate passed the Volstead Act on December 18th, which is one of the significant steps to the passage of the 18th Amendment. 1918. The Wartime Prohibition Act is passed to save grain for the war effort during World War I. 1919. On January 29th, the 18th Amendment is ratified by 36 states and goes into effect on the federal level. Then, on January 16th, 1920, Prohibition began, when the 18th Amendment went into effect. Those in support of the ban on alcohol include the Ku Klux Klan, those living in rural areas, African Americans, as well as tea merchants and soda manufacturers who figured the ban on alcohol would increase their sales. There were also many who opposed the ban, such as the Women's Organization for Prohibition Reform, who fought against it. They were convinced that prohibition was causing widespread crime, political corruption, increased binge drinking, and many other social problems. And then there were those who just wouldn't follow the rules. The biggest offender was Chicago's Al Capone. By mid-1922, Capone was mobster John Torrio's protege and number 2 man, and became partner in a collection of saloons, gambling houses, and brothels. Capone eventually took over as the boss man, but was busted by Elliot Ness and his team of law enforcement agents nicknamed the Untouchables. Capone was sentenced to 11 years in federal prisons. He spent 4.5 of those years at the famed Alcatraz. Correspondent Ima Lush caught up with locals who were happy to once again enjoy their favorite spirit, legally. Thank you, Devon. As you can imagine, it's all the talk around the town. So I caught up with some people to see what they thought about the new repealment. Excuse me, ma'am. I'm Lush here with PNN News. I'd like to ask you how you feel about the repealment of the 18th Amendment.
I feel pretty good about it. Before the Prohibition, my family owned a brewing company called Wine and Kugels, named after our wiener dog.
That's precious. So what happened to the business?
Obviously, we were shut down, so we're really looking forward to opening up our brewing company.
Excuse me, sir. I'm Lush here with PNN News. I'd like to ask you how you feel about the repealment of the 18th Amendment.
I think it's a good idea. You know, in Germany, it's illegal for kids to drink at 16, and they just don't have a drinking problem. I think the surest way to get somebody who wants something more is to take it away from them.
Excuse me, ma'am. I'm Lush for PNN News. How do you feel about the repealment of Prohibition?
Well, I think it's a sad day for Christians, but I'm not a drinker, so it doesn't really affect me at all.
And there you have it. Mixed feelings about the repeal of Prohibition. PNN News, I'm Lush.
You're on.
Thank you, Ima. And so, 14 years as a dry nation are over. Upon signing the amendment, the president remarked, "I think it would be a good time for a beer." And that's the news for December 5th, 1933. So long.
Yeah, sort of.
I was like, they were convinced that Prohibition was good. Okay,
John?
and then there were just Al Capone.
Yeah.
Capone was sentenced to a
Sentence.
Yeah, let me try that again.
I gotta have some outtakes.
That can't be in there. Are you? Did you just? Is that gonna matter? I'm sorry. God, that was perfect.